Hey YouTube, this is Groucho Trucker here, and this is a quick little update here. Well, on after I finished, day 3 of orientation on that following day, which was Thursday the 23rd, I went in, signed the final paperwork. Everything got approved already. Minnesota got their contract, said it was all good, so they gave me my permit book. Signed one last thing. And I went after they gave me the permit book. I went across the street to pick up my truck, and I was all happy, got it. And right after that, I got a call from my dispatcher, to introduce himself and let me know how the Target dedicated works, and he asked me a couple questions how I wanted to run, and I basically told him like, I want to do 2 weeks on and then take 2 days off, on the weekend. So, I'll be 2 weeks, basically every other weekend I'll be home. So that's the way I want to run it. And I told him that's the way it's going to be for me. I'm not going to be requesting weeks off at a time. I'm like, and, then he gave me all his policies, like, oh, if you need a day off, let me know as soon as you can. It's better for us, that we can start dispatching you home and all that. So yeah, we got all that squared away. And we discussed about mileage, and he says on the slow times they do go around 2,500 miles, and on the good times 3,000 and up. So that's good. But he said, if it gets too slow, so what they usually do is they'll send, they'll give us loads from another account. So I'm like, all right, that's good. That way they could keep us busy still, so we can make our payments and take some money home. So that's that. Okay, after I talked to him, he's all like, all right. I told him that I wanted to go home so I can start loading up the truck, so with all my stuff, so I can start my 2 weeks right off the bat, of work. So hung up with him. About 10 minutes later, yeah, he called. I mean, he didn't call me, he sent a message over the people nets, with my first load. So I'm like, all right, cool. Went there, got the information. Didn't pick up till Friday, and it was an open appointment. So I waited for an empty. I ended up getting an empty there at the yard at about 8 o'clock. Some guy showed up, dropped it off. It was all good. I picked it up, so I slept there. And the following morning, I got up early, and after that, started up, warmed up the truck. Good. Went off to Kentucky to pick up the load, which was only about 70 miles. I don't remember the city I picked up. And got there and, bumped the dock. 15 minutes later, I was all done, signed the paperwork. And as soon as I turned on the truck, bam, check engine light and a malfunction indicator lamp. And, when that light comes on, that means there is something wrong with your emissions. So, at that time, the truck already had 590 miles or something like that. And I'm like, really? This truck's already having emissions issues? So, since that load was going to Illinois, I'm like, okay, I have to go through I-65. So I decided to stop at Sellersburg at their yard there, because they do have a pro stop, one of their shops. And so yeah, I made it there, with no problems. It didn't nothing. I mean, it was running a little sluggish. I don't know if it was derated or not, but Anyways, I made it there. I talked to the mechanic, told him what was going on. He's all right. Just drop your trailer and put it in bay 3. So I did that, and I was all sad already. I was like, man, I'm like, really? I'm like, this is the way it's gonna start. Problems right off the bat. So I was a little down, and yeah, he hooked it up, to his little computer there, and he says like, yeah, it's showing something with the emissions. I'm not sure what it is. So I let him do his thing. I'm like, oh, I understand. New trucks can have problems right off the assembly line. So yeah, I gave him about 3 hours, and by that time it was, I would say, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, there has to be some news about it. So I went there and asked him, and he told me, oh, we can't figure it out. He's like, this truck's gonna probably have to go to Freightliner again. I'm like, again? What do you mean again? Then he ended up telling me that before I got the truck, um, they actually gave that truck to another lease operator, but before he can even get started, um, he turned it on, and right off the gate, off the bat, right there, um, he had the same problem. Check engine and the malfunction indicator lamp came on, so that I guess that truck's having problems. So they said they took it to Freightliner, and they went and inspected, checked everything, and a week later they got the truck back, and Freightliner claims, oh, there's no issues. We don't know why the check engine light just came on. So by the time they brought it back, everything was good, supposedly. And now I get the truck, and bam, problems again. So what I decided to do, I called Highway Sales. That's who we're going through. It's a part of the DART. They're the ones that actually lease you the trucks. It's their own side company there. So I called them and told them the problem, and I said, like, hey, this truck, they said it has to go to Freightliner. So I'm like, I want another truck. I'm like, if this truck's been a Freightliner once already, it has to go again. So this is twice within 600 miles. I'm like, that's a bad sign there. I'm like, I understand, if it happened once, and if it was just a little sensor, then it would have been okay. But no, it's been twice there already. So I told her, like, hey, you guys need to switch me to another truck, or else, we'll part ways. So she's like, well, we don't have trucks there. The trucks that are there are already booked up. She's like, let me talk to the head guy here, at Highway Sales, and I'll get back to you. Okay. I was all bummed, so I went across the street at the where I signed my my lease contract and all that. And I talked to the lady that actually you know was in charge of the lease operators there, and yeah, I told her what was going on, and she's like, oh, she felt bad for me right off. She's like, we need to fix this right now. So she got on the phone with Highway Sales, and she talked to the main guy that's in charge of who buys the trucks and stuff. And apparently he didn't know that that truck gone to Freightliner once before, and now it has to go back again. So I will say within after she hung up, she's like, oh, they said they're gonna call you. She was in line. 2 minutes later, bang, my phone started ringing. I answered it, and yeah, the lady said, like, okay, yeah, we're gonna switch you with another truck. So we cannot be having problems like that. So we want you guys to succeed. If you imagine if you get a lemon truck, that you're just gonna be staying at the shop. You're not gonna be making money, and of course, they're not gonna be making any money either. So I understand. So she's like, okay, we will give you another. We'll exchange that one for you. So we'll take care of that old one. Don't worry about it. So she gave me two options. The dark blue that I got was in Minnesota, and like a burgundy red one in Georgia. But I wanted, my same color I chose, so I'm headed to Eagan, Minnesota to pick that up. But she's like, can you do us a favor? And, we have a truck from there that needs to go up to Eagan, Minnesota. Is it okay if you get on that truck? So we'll put you on that temporary truck for now. So you'll still make money. We'll pay you what you should get paid, and, just take that truck up there, drop it off, and you pick up your new one. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. It's a win-win. Better than being on the bus for 2 days to get up there and not make any money. So I'd rather, just, I don't mind. I'll take this temporary truck and take it up there and make money at it while I'm doing it. So, yeah, so that's what ended up happening. We had to sign a couple permits for the temporary truck, and after that, they gave me the keys to it. She even asked me, like, are you sure? She's like, if you want, we could give you a used truck. I'm like, no, I don't want a used truck. I'd rather have a new one. So she's like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, I picked up this Freightliner here. It's a purple color. Reminds me of Barney, but ugly color. To me, at least it is. You know, to some it might be a pretty color, but I think it's ugly color. But either way, you know, now that you know, after all that was settled, I would say it was about almost 5 o'clock. You know, so I called the dispatcher, and of course, you know, by then, you know, I called him soon as what I got the check engine light, told him my plan, and you know, of course, you know, he took me off the load because that load needed to get there delivered by Saturday morning, and he's all like, okay, now you know we're gonna route you to Minnesota. He's like, I might take 2 loads, maybe 1 load, who knows? Then from there, we'll, you know, we'll send you to Nebraska. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And of course, I waited by the people net machine, and no loads were coming in. I'm like, really? And I'd say about 30 minutes later, another lease operator guy came, you know, through the yard, and you know, I went to talk to him, and he's like, hey, how's it going? How long you been here, and all that sort of stuff. And you know, he told me like, well, if you don't get dispatched by Friday afternoon about 4:30 or 5 o'clock, he's like, you're not gonna get dispatched for the weekend because you know they're not there, and the crew that's out there, you know, they don't really care, I guess, or something. So you know, I'm like, oh really? You know, after having this rough start, now I gotta sit here again now for 2 more days, you know, for the weekend. So he was right, you know. I decided to stay at a truck stop because out there, even at the Sellersburg yard, you know, there's really nothing out there. There's just like a KFC and that's it. So I'm like, screw it, you know, I just go to the truck stop. At least I'll have some Wi-Fi and, you know, food and well, whatever, you know, else. I could wash my clothes since, you know, I brought limited amount of clothes and all that stuff. So yeah, so today is Sunday now, you know, I have no load, and hopefully tomorrow I get a load and, you know, start heading out to Minnesota so I can pick up that new truck and, you know, from there go home, and hopefully the adventure begins, you know, after that. Hopefully I don't have any problems anymore. So yeah, you know, it's been, like I said, a rough little start here, but at least Dart made it right. So I'm happy, and you know, they're happy too, so that's good for everyone. So you know, I'm surprised they actually did that, you know, because you know, if you would actually buy a truck, you know, through the dealer, and as soon as you leave the lot, that's, you know, it's your problem, you're on your own there. So if you have problems, you know, right off the gate, you know, and let's say 200 miles later you have problems, you tell them like, hey, you know, I don't want this. They'll be like, sorry, it's your truck, you know, yeah, we'll fix it for you, but you know, we're not gonna exchange it for you. I don't think they would. So yeah, so you know, it's good that they Dart's trying to make it right for me, so that's a plus there. So yeah, that's just a little update from me. So you know, soon as I pick up the other truck, and you know, I'll make a walk around video, that way you guys can see how it's configured. And after that, you know, I'll just make a couple of videos of the settlements before all the deductions and after the deductions, and you know, we'll go over miles and all that. Then you know, I'll just, after that, you know, I just keep trying to make weekly updates to let you guys how it's going. So for now, guys, I'll let you guys go and have a good one.